Hello, Gemini. This is Michelle, and I'm here to do your February 2020 tarot reading. We're using the classic Rider-Waite tarot deck by US Games, and I've also brought back the Saint card from The Voices of Saints by Los Scarabeo. And we pulled this for you, St. Barbara, in December. And we were going to read up a little bit and learn about her, a fascinating story. And so I'll mention a little bit about that at the end of the reading. This is for the sign of Gemini, our Gemini friends, the month of February 2020. I think the cards are ready for you. We're just doing a cut on the deck, as you can see. Well, the Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which is interesting because your ruling planet, Mercury, will be retrograde in the month of February. It will be February 17th, actually, to March 9th, and it will be in the sign of Pisces. This is interesting because of course, classic traditional message for the Six of Cups is thinking about the past, perhaps seeing someone from the past coming back into your life. Very traditional for a Mercury retrograde. In Pisces, it could be that this thinking about the past is I want to see it carries quite a bit of emotion with it as well. So some of you can be not only thinking about the past or people of the past, but also in a way that brings up a great deal of emotion. Now we have the King of Wands coming in, very interesting, a fire card coming in to start February, which could relate perhaps to a feeling of passion arising for the Gemini people, and the Devil crossing. And so how interesting. At once, Gemini, I'm thinking that some of you perhaps have been feeling a little bit tied down, a little bit perhaps the need for, I want to say, and I'm thinking about the astrology here, that some of you might be feeling that you are lacking the resources at this time to do something that you feel passionate about. That's possible. Or let me say that finances could be causing a little bit of trouble here. If it's not that, in a more general sense, what I'm picking up is just the feeling of wanting to break free, but feeling perhaps a little bit stuck in some way. Let's continue on. And now we have Temperance coming in, suggesting that you might also be thinking that I hope I have the strength to continue on and to move forward. The Four of Pentacles coming in. Wow, this is really underscoring what was coming through for me from the Devil, and also thinking about the astrology for February. And so some of the Mercury ruled people may feel the need at this time to just tighten the purse strings. There could be something financial going on that is keeping Gemini from moving forward at the pace they would like to. Let me share this idea, though, that is also coming through. For some of us, being in a situation where we are financially strained can also be the impetus that moves us forward. It's not perhaps the optimal way to move forward, right? I mean, it would be much easier to just have all the resources that we need and just go ahead and do the thing that we wish to do. But for some of you, it could be that this sense of tightening of the purse strings or the budget, perhaps being limited in some way, is also in another sense getting you to look at ways that you can get yourself, I want to say, back into a better position financially. And it might even be pushing you forward in ways that you otherwise weren't considering. Now we have the Queen of Wands coming in. I want to say this for the Gemini people. I do think that there is a great passion that has been growing beneath. It is still there. It is still there. It looks like it has actually matured in some way. Let's continue on. And now we have the Two of Swords. And so, wow, this is a complicated reading, but I want to say that the themes are coming through pretty clearly. And it's like there is, in one sense, a feeling of passion brewing, of wanting to move forward. This could be a relationship for some of you. I really feel there is a financial foundation though, but this sense of wanting to move forward, but perhaps right now feeling a little bit stuck and not quite sure what the path looks like ahead. I think that this is a phase. I think a lot of it has to do with the astrology. Gemini, if this feels a little bit frustrating, because, I have to go back to the astrology here. January was a very difficult month for many of us with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And so I'm going to say, for those of you that are feeling a sense of frustration, a sense of loss in some way, it could be financial or have to do with something material. It could be putting you in a position where you feel stuck at this time. I'm here to say that there is a big lesson here for all of us, and that with Pluto involved, that we know that things will be better. I believe that for some of you, you are hoping to have the strength to get through this transition, and I'm here to say that I believe that you do have the strength, that you will move through this particular transit that we are looking at. And what is coming through with the cards is this is a process that takes some time. There may be other areas of life where things are moving more quickly. There may be indeed even some sparks coming through for you in the month of February, also based on the astrology with the sun in Aquarius. And so we have an earth trine. I feel that there is going to be some relief, but there's this other sense that there is a big transition to get through. The Seven of Rods coming in. And so for some of you, perhaps you are looking at some competition, some social struggle involved. This could have to do with the monetary issue that I am seeing. We have the Three of Rods coming in though. My goodness, it is almost like I am reading the cards, I am picking up messages ahead, and then the cards are coming out afterward to confirm that. And it is saying that despite the struggles that we might be going through, there is so much opportunity at this time. And so to continue to manifest with those positive thoughts, to know that opportunity lies ahead for the Gemini people once we get through this difficult transition. With the Ace of Swords, I think that many Gemini people would like to see a brand new start. Again, there are indications that there will be some sparks in February. I think there will be some moments in time where you actually do feel that the load is lifted. And with the final card, the Lovers coming in, representative of Gemini, certainly I'm happy to see this card coming in for you, Gemini. It just suggests that no matter what indecisions or troubles or uncertainties might be going on in this earthly plane, in this earthly life, that there is indeed a heavenly source, a beautiful divine force, I want to say, that is looking out over you, that this is part of a much bigger process that many, indeed many of us are going through. I want to now just turn to St. Barbara, because we brought this up in December, as I said. She came up for many of the signs, actually. Even though I was shuffling quite a few cards, St. Barbara continued to come through. And so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the story of her. Perhaps you looked up the story about St. Barbara yourself. She is known as the Great Martyr Barbara. From the 4th century, she is a Greek saint. She was known for her physical beauty. Now, this is a theme with many of the early martyrs, the women that were great physical beauties. Of course, beautiful in her heart as well, as she was touched by Christ. She was touched by the Lord, but she also had this physical beauty. As a result, her father locked her up in a tower. We did not know, at least I did not know, in December what this represented. I believe that this image of the tower is in the card right here that she is carrying it. She was locked up in a tower because of her beauty. Her father wanted to protect her. She was raised as a pagan by her father and teachers, but as she was raised inside this tower and looking out these windows, as she contemplated the physical beauty of the world, she came to an understanding that there was one God, and that there was one Christ, one Lord, and she devoted herself entirely to Jesus. Her father, however, did not like this, of course, and wanted her to marry. St. Barbara would have none of it. She was going to devote herself to Christ. Her father decided to free her, to set her free from the tower, thinking that this would change her mind, that she would become more worldly. But in fact, what happened was the opposite. She only met more Christians and deepened her faith. Now, another interesting thing about the story of St. Barbara is that there was a bathhouse built for her. She requested 3 windows in this bathhouse to represent the Trinity, and many miracles and healings occurred here. So that's very interesting as well. As it goes with these stories, with these great beauties and martyrs of the early church, it came to an end that was, of course, tragic. Her father tortured her. In the end, when he found out that she was devoted to Christ and would not marry, Jesus came to her on the earth plane and healed her wounds. Finally, though, she was beheaded. This is also typical of the martyr story. Now, in the card, we were wondering about this picture here it looked like this man beneath her. In the notes from the deck from Lo Scarabeo, it says that her persecutor was struck by lightning. The story actually that I read says that both her father and the authority who had her beheaded were both struck by lightning. Wow. The story of the saints, as I have been reading them these past few weeks, and actually going back to December, I have been reading these stories over the past couple of months, actually. And what is coming through for me is this absolute, I want to say, unswerving faith That is the story that comes through, that no matter what happens, these saints have a faith that is just unmovable. It's beyond faith. It is a knowing, a knowingness that Christ is with us, that the Lord is with us, and that nothing can detract from that path. For those of you Geminis, I want to say the reading looks very positive to me for you, but I'm also well aware that in the astrology there are some difficulties. Some Geminis could feel stuck at this time. It could even be that some suffering is happening at this time and that you are wishing to really move through this. I want to say or recommend that you can pray to Saint Barbara at this time. Ask her to intercede for you. Ask her to bring you faith and belief that everything indeed is going to work out beautifully for you. It is showing in the cards. I believe it for you, and I know Saint Barbara will restore your faith in the month of February. I want to thank you so much for coming back for a reading here. And for those of you that are new to the channel, thank you so much as well for coming. And I'll see you next time.